Hi, I'm John Batt, and I'm here to talk with you a little bit about what makes quality upholstery. If you've shopped for sofas or chairs recently, you may wonder why is one sofa $600 and one's $1,500 and one's $3,000. And I'd like to give you a little insight into why that is. Most of what you pay for in a sofa is under the cover. It's behind the scenes. You can't really see it. And so I'd like to explain to you a little bit about what makes a good sofa and hopefully help you compare as you're shopping and see what you are getting. There are four basic areas that matter in a sofa. The bones of the sofa, if you will, would be the frame and the deck, the ultimate structure that's under the sofa. Then you've got the cushions, you've got the tailoring and the fabric and the padding. And those are really the areas that you work in a sofa, and they're what matter. Starting with the frame, you always want a solid hardwood frame. You don't want plywood, you don't want cheap knotty wood. It should be at least 4/4 of an inch thick, preferably 5/4. It should be solid hardwood, it shouldn't have any knots, and it should be finished to a degree. Some go so far as to put an actual finish and stain on a frame. It's not really necessary, but it certainly makes a fine product. But you don't want knots and you don't want a lot of rough wood under the sofa. The way the frames join together is critically important. All joints should be blocked, double screwed, double doweled, and glued. That ensures stability, and over the years as the sofa is moved around, as you sit on it, get up, it creates a stable joint. What you don't want is just a staple gun. And many inexpensive sofas are just, they put the wood together, they run a big staple in it and move on. That joint's going to loosen up and it's not going to be a good solid joint over the long term. Another critical part is how the legs are made. Wherever possible, the leg should be one piece, integral and part of the frame. It shouldn't be screwed in, it shouldn't be attached. Now some decorative treatments, turned legs, fancy shaped legs, the design requires that the leg be attached and not part of it. But wherever possible, the leg should go from the floor to the top of the deck, and if at all possible, to the top of the arm on the sofa. And that again ensures strength and stability over the long pull. You don't have legs breaking off, and you don't have legs getting at odd angles. The next critical component to the sofa is the deck, and it really is part of the frame because it's critical that they all be tied together. When I say the deck, what I'm talking about is what's under the cushions, this part right here. Preferably, and in a perfect world, they would all be 8-way hand-tied decks. And that means that one upholsterer takes a group of individual coil springs and he places them on the bottom support of that deck and then ties it from 8 different directions. The reason he ties it is because he pulls each one to a very specific tension and a very specific height. That gives you the seating and the comfort that they're looking for on that particular frame. The other thing it does is it creates stability so that that frame can't tilt one way or the other when you sit on it. It ties the whole deck together and makes it an integral part again with the frame. So you get one solid base for the cushions to rest on. Another type of deck that you see is what people in lesser manufactured goods would call an 8-way hand-tied. In my opinion, it's really not. It's called a drop-in unit. They're mass manufactured. They just take a couple of metal frames and put some springs in there, and that unit is stapled into the sofa frame. It makes a decent deck, and you would find it in lesser quality upholstery. It's not the sort of thing that we would want here, and we don't think it's the sort of thing our customers want. All of ours are 8-way hand-tied unless the design requires that it be a sinuous coil deck. Sinuous coil is a straight wire across the top, and it's used sometimes when you have a very shallow deck where you really don't have room for a deep coil spring. Recliners can have a sinuous coil deck, and that works fine for those sorts of applications. The next major component in your sofa or chair is the cushion and the cushion core construction. Most of our sofas have what's called a spring down cushion, and that's again coil springs inside a pocket that's then wrapped with down cover. You get the most stable cushion, you get the comfort you're looking for because they can vary the strength of the springs so that you can get a firm or a soft, and then the down wrapping gives you a really lush and luxurious top. That's the longest lasting cushion. It's just simply the best. There are other variations of it. You can do a foam core with a down wrap, which is fine, perfectly acceptable. And then there's synthetics with a foam core and a Dacron wrap, and those are good. As with anything, there are different qualities among all of those things, and what you want is a high quality foam if you're using foam, high quality down if you're using down. And one of the ways you can gauge the quality, interestingly, is just the weight. When you pick up a cushion core from a sofa, see, that's so heavy I can't even pick it up, it should have weight to it. The better the foam in a core and the better the down, the heavier it is. It's going to have weight. The other thing is, the better the foam, the softer it is. So what you're looking for is a soft, resilient cushion that's going to hold its shape. It's really one of the most important parts of the cushion or of the sofa, for the simple reason that that's where you sit. The deck is, if it's properly done and a quality piece, is very stable, and we rarely have trouble with them. The cushion is what matters, because that's what carries your weight. You need to reverse them because they wear, and a good quality cushion will last you a long time. An inferior cushion is going to go flat, it's going to look bad on the sofa, and you're going to feel like you're sitting on the deck. One of the important things to us at BAT is the way a sofa sits. In the industry, we call it the ride, if you will. It's a very simple term, but what it means is that when you sit on a quality sofa, you should sit in it, not on it. Now, you shouldn't bottom out, but it should form to your body. You should feel a little bit of settling so that it sort of wraps you. That's what a sofa, a fine quality sofa, should sit like. You don't want one where you just perch on top of these hard little cushions. It's just a sign of an inferior sofa. And if the cushions aren't good, then the frame and the spring's probably not going to be good either. In back cushions, you have two basic types with some variations. You have what we call a loose pillow back, which, pretty obvious, the back cushion is loose. And then you have a tight back, which would be similar to this chair, where the cushion's not loose, it's just manufactured into the sofa or the chair. On a loose back, it should be filled with down if your seat cushions are down, or it should be fiber fill if you're using synthetic seat cushions. The main thing is that it should be full, it should be plump. When you sit on it, it shouldn't go flat. Over time, all cushions are going to soften a little bit, so when you get a good quality sofa initially, they'll be extra plump, and then they'll settle in over a little bit of time. If the cushions are flat and floppy and not properly filled at the outset, then that's a sign that you're not getting a very good sofa, and it's something you should watch out for. On a tight back piece, the back should have a spring unit in the back, either coil springs, which are called a Marshall spring unit, or sinuous wire spring back is fine too for the back. That gives you the support you need, and it gives you the softness and comfort as compared to a loose cushion where you've got a lot of extra padding. That then, a spring unit then should be padded across the top so that you get a soft, luxurious feel, and yet you get the support that you need. Next, let's talk a little bit about tailoring, and that's the actual application of the fabric onto the frame. This is the part of the sofa that you can see, so this is something that you really can envision. The springs, the frame, to some extent you have to take on faith from the store that you're buying it from, and you need to trust those people. But the tailoring you can see. The first thing is that the fabric ought to be pulled snug, shouldn't have a lot of looseness in the corners, it shouldn't be flopping all over the place. If there are stripes, they should be square to the pattern. The fabric should be aligned properly. If there are weltings, those weltings should be tight and crisp and straight. They shouldn't zigzag all over the place. And the pattern should be properly matched. You notice on this sofa that I'm sitting on how the stripes run from the top all the way to the front. On this sofa, they also match the arm, and if we went around to the back, you'd see that they fall right over the back in the same way. That's called a four-way flow match. And really fine sofas, high quality sofas, are done that way. Makes them a little more expensive for the simple reason that there's fabric wastage, particularly on florals or print patterns. When you match a pattern, you're going to lose fabric, and so that cost goes in also. This sofa doesn't have a skirt, it has a base, and it should be upholstered firmly and snugly. If you look at this chair, you'll see a different treatment with the kick pleat skirt. If a sofa or chair does have a skirt, the skirt should hang just like that one. We try not to buy sofas and chairs that don't have a properly made skirt. It should be smooth, it should be flat, it should hang straight, it should be lined under the skirt, and it should have an inner liner of Pelham and perhaps a little fabric liner to give it some added weight and strength so that it doesn't wrinkle and it doesn't just flap in the breeze. One exception to what I'm telling you about fabric application is on the shabby chic look or this casual, I call it almost frumpy looking upholstery that we're seeing a lot of now. It's a very loosely tailored, mostly linen fabrics on frames. It's designed to have sort of a loose, wrinkled, very relaxed, casual look. And it's obviously not supposed to be tailored as crisply and firmly as these traditional pieces. It's actually harder to do. It requires more skill from the upholsterer. And if it's done right, it's beautiful. If it's not done right, it just looks like a really badly made sofa. The last thing we want to talk about in the broad sense is the padding of a sofa. You have the hard frame, you have the deck, and it's all very well and good, but there should be padding under this top layer of fabric that gives it some softness and stability. This is one of the things that lesser made sofas and chairs will eliminate if they can get away with it. It should be padded on the front. You should always feel the side panels and the back panels of your sofas that you're considering. If you don't have that proper padding in there, in addition to it not feeling well or not feeling right, over time that fabric's going to loosen up, and it's with every little breeze that comes through, it's going to flap. It's going to hang and just not look crisp and well done, and you don't want that. Another thing about padding is the arms should be comfortably padded. You don't want to feel wood. You want enough there to give you comfort and not be feeling hard surfaces that are necessary under the wood because of the wood frame. One thing that helps distinguish really nice upholstery from lesser upholstery is that the frame should be shaped to the shape of the chair. A lot of manufacturers on lower quality goods will manufacture just square frames, and then they'll use padding to give shape. They'll make a rounded back or an extreme arm or something like that with nothing but styrofoam and foam padding. And you don't really want that. A chair like this frame is shaped, and then the rail is padded for softness, and so you're getting the effect of softness and cushioning and not shaping. And that's what you want in a fine quality piece. The attributes of fine upholstery that we've talked about and that I've tried to share with you today are important to us at BAT. When we shop for upholstered furniture at market, these are the things we look for. We simply don't buy upholstery that doesn't meet these standards. You can buy sofas from $3.99 to who knows how much. Some are going to be wonderful, some are not going to be so wonderful. But everything that we show in our showroom has to meet these standards. Our sofas start at about $12.95 and go up to, generally speaking, in fabric, $400, $4,500. Every one of those, whether it's the $12.95 sofa, $1,600, $2,000 or above, meet these same standards. We simply won't buy it if it doesn't. So when you're in the market for a sofa or a chair, I hope you'll come in and take the sit test, so to speak. Look at what we've got, we'll show you how it's made, and I think you'll see that there's a difference in sofas. We hope you'll visit us soon because we welcome your comparisons. Apples to apples, dollars to dollars. We think our upholstery will shine by comparison. Visit us soon at BAT Furniture and Interiors.